So the First Descendant just released Hotfix 1.0.7, and I'm excited to see exactly what they dropped because they announced that they were going to be fixing a lot of things. So let's dive into the patch notes right now. So one of the main things they did mention is if you do not select abort or continue during the interim review in special operations, abort will be selected automatically. A little quality of life fix that they did right there. They did lower the difficulty of the mechanics of the hard intercept battle Frostwalker. I know a lot of you guys were struggling to beat this boss. He is one of the tougher bosses because of the way the mechanics works, but they did make some changes to make him a little bit easier. Number one being destroyed frenzy parts will now generate 2 embers, and they increased the maximum threshold of frenzy gauge, reducing the number of times a colossal becoming frenzied. And they also, when using slug shots to frenzy colossal, its leg movements will be reduced and making it easier to aim at weak points, which I could imagine on controller that was probably very tough to do. Even on mouse and keyboard, it was tough. So those are some changes they did for the Frostwalker. Now they also made some changes. Characters will no longer receive damage when they are in hazardous area, as you guys are seeing on screen. During the Void Intercept battles, you no longer take damage after you kill the Void Intercept, whether you're in the fire or whatever. So when Molten Fortress is defeated, the lava on the ground is now removed immediately. And then when Swamp Walker is defeated, the disease status effect is now removed immediately. The restart function on Void Intercept battles changed a little bit, and also with special operations and infiltration operations is now separated into 2 types. Start with the current squad, so if you like the squad you're playing with, you can restart it, or you can just restart the mission and then maybe get a different squad. The time available for start with the current squad is also increased to 60 seconds. I'm glad they did this. It allows you to grab some loot and decide if you want to play with them again. The display animation for amorphous materials when using a reconstruction device has been simplified, letting you quickly check the materials. I love that. GG's. Now they went on into the little open world we have called the field. It says in Echo Swamp, the void fragment toxin monsters will now spawn faster. If you've done any of those, they are very slow, and I'm glad they changed that. The HP on monsters in void fusion reactors has been reduced, and they will drop more ammo and recover orbs when you defeat them. Now I will say some of the void fusion reactor monsters were easy, but some of them were tanky, and you would have to put in some work, especially if you didn't have really good builds. You would struggle at these, so I could see that being an issue for some players who don't have really good builds. They were probably struggling at these void fusion reactors monsters, and I mean that's probably a good change for them. Now for the battle pass, they said they identified an issue where the requirements for the battle pass week 6 challenge, wouldn't it hurt more if rifle fired harder, were not met retroactively. They changed the requirement to enhance rifle and reinforcement to level 3. They reduced the difficulty for weekly challenges for the battle pass week 7 and 8, also increasing the amount of rewards of XP and supply coin. A great change there. Now for UI, they had some changes. When selecting additional options for hard infiltration operations, all the options will remain selected even if you change additional options. Now grappling hook disabled and jump disabled from the list of additional options that can be selected in hard infiltration operations has been removed. I know a lot of people hated those and they would just keep cycling because they just didn't want to play with those on there. So that is a good change right there. You can now check the tooltip for amorphous material icons in the chain selectable reward screen in hard infiltration operations. Tooltips for equipments now show up faster. Equipment option tiers are now displayed on the icon, and set effects for external components are now displayed on the icon. Now, a really big change that I love to see that I didn't know till recently is in the module acquisition info, you can now check whether a module can be acquired via combining. The modules that can be only acquired via combining are Highline Suppression, Shot Focus, and Shield Collector. There are 3 of them. A lot of people don't even know about this. I didn't know about this till recently, but this is a great thing to put in there because all that info should be right there in that access info. So it's good to see that they did add that. So again, if you guys have been looking for those 3, they can only be acquired by combining modules. In the consumable menu of the library, you can now see the amount of consumables you currently have. When receiving all lost and found items, if there is not enough inventory space, you can now only receive the items in according to the remaining space. Now, one thing I noticed is, have you noticed none of your gold items ever go into that lost and found? Is that something that's supposed to be like that? Or where do those gold items go? Because I know sometimes I don't pick up all the gold items, but I never see them in my lost and found. Now, they also did when unique abilities of the ultimate weapon weapon permanently changed. The weapon's default performance, you can now check the changes on the basic info screen. So that's actually great because especially for me, like if I showcase ultimate weapon, I can show you what the default was and what it is now that I have improved it. So you can actually see the big difference you've done to your ultimate weapons as a whole, right? How stronger they have gotten from enhancing that ultimate ability. Now for the Descendants, they fixed the amount of recovery displayed on the skill tooltip for Eugene so that it matches the improvements made in his recovery amount in Hotfix 1.0.6. By overhauling the formula Eugene's recovery skill, the amount of recovery has been slightly increased for skill level 4. You can now gain weapon proficiency when defeating enemies with a unique weapon. Luna's stage presence, I know a lot of people were complaining about that. Great change. You can now acquire Luna's noise surge modification module in hard intercept bottle executioner. I thought I got that last night. I forgot what I got it. I definitely got noise surge on one of them. I'm not sure which one. Now, there were a ton of bug fixes that they did mention and they did put in these patch notes. I do want to go over the ones that really stood out to me. Number one, they fixed the issue where Bunny's throw bomb skill did not hit nearby enemies when she was equipped with high voltage. I know that was driving people crazy. They also fixed the issue where Luna's danced while holding her gun when she used an enhanced skill with noise surge module. So a lot of you guys who haven't used Luna, that probably doesn't even affect you. Now I noticed they fixed the issue where Sharon could cancel her skill even after she fired flash short sword skill during ending motion. So I think you were able to shoot it twice. I don't know how that works, but it seems that they changed that, so now you can no longer cancel that. They also fixed the issue with the range module would not change the skill description, and it also would not expand the effect of Lepek's traction grenade. So they fixed that right there. And we'll keep going through. Another big issue I noticed is they fixed the issue where they display the firearm critical hit rate was switched with skill critical hit rate in a 4-piece set effect tooltip for external components acrobat set effects. So if you guys use that set, you might have noticed that there too. Now they do go into the bug fixes, and there were a ton for us to really deep dive into. Some of them might affect you, some of them might not. One that I think a lot of you guys probably have been affected by was the mission unknown laboratory. You remember when people would reach that non-resurrection zone in advance, you would get stuck behind the wall? Well, they did fix that, so now everybody will be teleported, so you no longer have to wait there for the other players to catch up to you. And that's pretty much all of the fixes. Again, there was a ton of little small bug fixes. I didn't want to go into all of those. I'll put a link to that if you guys want to see that. The last thing they did go over though was they did say there is a new Descendant coming. It says the new Descendant is armed with Cold Fury, ready to strike. What do you think is her greatest strategy? So I know a lot of people had thought that Scar was gonna be the next Descendant coming, but it looks like it's actually a female character. And is that a sniper rifle? Is that a rocket launcher? What is that? And what are going to be her abilities? That is the biggest question. So I would love to find out, who do you guys think it is? And are you guys excited for a new Descendant? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate the support, appreciate the love. See you guys in the next one. Hey, Nothing But Skills is out.